Alright, I'm diving into this flatting demo, showing you how I set up my file first of all. And I've got foreground, midground, and background plane layers that you can see in my layer panel on the right hand side, kind of more to the top half. And you can see I put them in a group called color file setup, and what I do in here is I separate my composition in plane areas as I start, because I'm working underneath the line art. As you can see you can see that ink group layer that's got all of my lines and stuff. I may or may not play with those after the coloring is done, but we'll see. And you can see I do each of the planes in a single color. I tend to just use the same colors. It doesn't really matter what the same colors every time I do a file, that is. Each plane is a pretty dramatically different color, as you'll see here in a minute, but I'll just use the same ones, so as I'm working later on it's easier for me to differentiate between what I'm putting in the foreground and what I'm putting in the middle and what I'm putting in the background. And here I'm drawing out that I'm just using the lasso tool with just adding to the selection. You can see that option selected in the upper left hand side, that little icon there where it shows that you can that you're adding to your selection. And anyway, I usually do my midgrounds in that bright green color, and here I am doing a background in blue. This is all laid out on one figure, just because it's that's how this panel was, and this is the only piece I actually had inked, and I wanted to do the demo real quick, so this is what we got. But you could use the orange layer as the people in the foreground. You could use the green layer as the couch that those people may be sitting on, and the blue layer maybe the color of the carpet or the wall or something. And I added an extra layer, but beyond that, because I wanted to play with some more stuff, we got a lot of plane layers going on here. So what I do now is I duplicate that group. I title it Flats, because we're gonna put all of the flat colors on one layer. So now I've got two copies, but the flats layer is it was a copy of that group that I flattened, and so the color planes, they still exist by themselves, all separate, but I put the flats all together. So what I'm doing now is I'm going through and I'm selecting, as you can see in the upper left hand corner again, I'm using the lasso tool, but instead of adding to the selection, I'm subtracting from the selection. So I'll select everything with the magic wand tool. I'll select the plane, the single color, and then I'll go through and for instance in this one I colored the antlers first, and so everything was the antler color, but I subtracted out the antlers, and then went on to the red color, subtracted out the red color. As you can see, I'm doing the salmon color of his coat and taking out the colors where his coat was. And then I'm going to do, I forgot to do his face earlier on, so I colored him brown again, just filled the whole thing with brown, filled the whole selection with brown. And then you move on to the next color, and this time it was green. The colors on the flatting are not terribly important, just so long as they're evenly differentiated between each other, so I can easily select any one color and change it. So here I'm doing purple. You subtract whatever you filled it with, and it stays that color. It's a little bit difficult to bend your head around when you first get started, but your mind myelinates that connection, and it gets going pretty easy after that. Okay, so I want to validate this whole process with the you know, using those major planes, differentiating those major planes early on. So I'm going to show you why I do it that way, rather than just, you know, blocking out the forms early on. So now I just added dark grade layers and a light grade layer. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to select those coats in the foreground. I'm going to just slap a grade over them, and go to the midground, slap another grade there, and select the background, just slap another grade on, and then go straight to the light colors after that. That way I can select that whole area that I want to have that gradient, to have that light effect, and just do it. And it's nice and easy. And then I can go back once this one took me a second to figure out what I was going to do actually. So I'm going to go back into that flats layer and select just that area using the marquee tools and stuff, and here you can see the different layers all still there, all still usable, editable, and that's it. I haven't figured out how to do the freeze frame at the end, so that's all we get. But okay, I hope that helps.